Good evening, everyone. I have 2 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and call our special school board meeting to order. And say good evening to everyone. And Mr. Superintendent,
Good afternoon.
you want to say something now?
Yes, sir. Well, of course, as you know, the Dougherty County Board of Education and the Dougherty County Commission created a joint committee to look at redistricting as a result of the reapportionment caused by the legislative census. And they had several meetings, received 2 drafts from the state reapportionment office, and Mr. Coleman was in constant communication with the reapportionment office, and he provided guidance and advice to the committee. And I think at this time, Mr. Coleman is prepared to give an update, an overview to the board before we take a vote.
Yes, sir.
Ms.
Thank you,
Coleman?
Mr. Superintendent. I passed out some things here that you already have, those of you that are on the phone, while we're doing this. The law requires after every census for us to review our election districts to make sure they comport with the Supreme Court decisions that one man, one vote, so that everybody's vote essentially counts the same. And you will note that right now, with our current districts, like District 1 is 2,062 people, too large, 14.5% roughly. District 2 is 1,230 people too small, which is 8.6% too low. The next one, 3, is 11% too low. District 4 is almost 10% too high. The District 5 is under the deviation of 3.5%, and actually District 6 is just about right on it at 0.94% negative. So that's the reason that we have to do it. And it's something that not only is Dougherty County going through, but every jurisdiction in the state that has single-member districts is going through the same process. This unfortunately has been compressed compared to what we have done before. I think the state got the census a little late, and so it is necessary, as I think the superintendent knows as well, that we adopt a plan and have it up to them so that they can draft a bill and have it adopted by the 31st, at least by one house. And so we apologize for the pressure of time here to consider these matters, but it's really beyond anybody here in Dougherty County's control. What the board did is appoint, of course, as we've discussed, a committee. That committee worked pretty diligently on this and had numerous meetings and had public hearings about this plan or these plans. And what they elected to do was to contact the Legislative Reapportionment Committee that was created by the General Assembly. And they drafted plans for us. They drafted the first draft, one plan, which is on the table for us to adopt. And the committee decided that they would need another alternative just to look at, and so they drafted the second plan as well. Those are on the wall up here. We have made them available to the public. They were there for the public hearing. They were put on both the county and the school board's website to promote public understanding and opinions if anybody had any. So that's the framework. And what we have to do when we draft these plans is, number one, make sure the districts are contiguous. And they did that. That's part of the law. They wanted to know where all of you lived and all the county commissioners lived, so that they would not draw anybody out of their districts. And if you look at the Plan 1 there, you'll see with little dots where people live, and so they accomplished that. The districts have to be contiguous. In other words, we can't have a group over here and a group over there. They have to be with contiguous, so there's a uniform natural flow of things. At the same time, kind of dealing with all those requirements with a changing population, it is also vitally important that you do not draw a plan that has the effect of diminishing minority voting strength in a community. It appears they accomplished that as well. And so what the committee did after a lot of debate and consideration, frankly, passed a resolution. I trust all of y'all got that. I emailed it to everybody. I hope you all got it, where they are recommending to the county and the school board that we adopt draft 1 over there. And you have a kind of a copy that I put there for you to see, and it's up on the screen as well. But if you look, thank you. If you look over on the very last page, you'll see the numbers there, and you can tell what they have tried to do is get within 1%, the deviation of population, probably never perfect, but get within 1%. Now, when we were doing this 10 years ago and then 20 years ago too, it had to be pre-cleared by the Justice Department. Y'all remember the Supreme Court ruled that Section 2 was unconstitutional, so there's no pre-clearance. 10 years ago, we had to adopt the plan, the General Assembly would adopt it, and we would send it to the Justice Department, and they would send us a letter back, it's okay or it's not okay. That is gone. But the standard that they used was a little looser than this one, frankly. Their deviations were 5% on either side of 0, so a total deviation of 10%. And they also defined a safe minority district, minority majority district, to be 65%. But you can look at what we have here, and you can see that the deviations are well below 1%, almost right on it. 24, 50, I'm sorry, like Ms. Hudley, I can't read the small writing here, and so on down, but they are within that deviation. You can also see that the African American population is over on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th column. District 1, it's 45%. In District 2, it's 89%. District 3, 78. District 4 is 57. District 5 is 83. In District 6 is 63. So there are really 5 majority minority districts in the plan that the committee selected. Mr. Chairman, I also put a resolution there that if the board sees fit, I would ask them to adopt this resolution. If you'll note it, there's Exhibit A and Exhibit B down there, and I would suggest if you apply, or if you agree with the decision by the Joint Committee, that be Draft 1 and the data that goes along with Draft 1, which is recommended by Ms. Poole, who I want to point out was the Vice Chairman of the committee, and it passed by that committee vote of 5-1. I also point out that, county met yesterday, and they passed it, and it would be up to you to pass it today. Mr. Lee, county attorney, asked that he's going to send me the county stuff today, and we will put that in a package and then forward all the data that we have collected in the resolutions to the General Assembly for their adoption. Questions?
Board members, do you have any questions to Mr. Coleman?
I have a question. I just have a statement once he's finished and check with everybody else's questions.
If the board sees fit to adopt the resolution, I do have a place for everybody to sign. While that's not legally necessary, it's something that a lot of times with local acts, the General Assembly wants to know who's on board and who's not. And of course, with permission of those people attending by phone, if they vote in the affirmative, I'll have the clerk fill in their names and attended by phone. As we all know, during the pandemic, there's a special emergency provision, and that you can have a teleconference meeting is what we're doing, and there's other provisions as well. So they can vote, Mr. Chairman, to participate just like anyone else.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Coleman. Ms. Poole?
I just want to say, as vice chair of the Redistricting Committee, I want to first thank both of my co-workers that sat on this board with us to provide the services for the citizens of Albany. It was a wonderful time. We worked hard and we discussed, so I certainly appreciate it. But just to make a point of contact with this, when we were in the discussion, there was a concern to ensure that the minority vote still stayed like it has been in the past, and I shared with my coworkers on the joint redistricting that the color doesn't matter here in Albany. I think our constituents are well aware of the actual issue, and we pointed out that my co-worker, Ms. Geraldine Hutley, which is an at-large, which is an African-American female, is also the same people that voted for Chris Cohelis, which is a Caucasian male. So with that being said, with the same people being, so if we're dealing with an issue, our constituents are well aware of the actual issue, and it's not a color barrier. So I want to let, just to make that point. So it's not the color ratio here, even though we have to do that. But our constituents are very much smart, and they'll deal with the actual issue. So even though it's a minority group, there's a possibility that the best candidate will win, and this will allow that one vote, one person. And when I looked at it, all of us, Mr. Youngblood and myself, he lost about close to 1,500, and I gained about 1,500. So it's just, we have to do our work to get reelected. So again,
2,000.
thank you. Mr. Youngblood got to do a little bit more work, and I got to do a little bit more work. But thank you guys for all your support and having the conversation. I appreciate the opportunity to serve on behalf of this school board.
Thank you,
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Reverend Bush.
I want to thank you for allowing me to serve, and I think that this is a good plan, and it has been written by the reapportionment committee, and that's why I was dead on it. And I suggest that I hope and pray that my colleagues will see fit to vote in the affirmative.
Thank you, Reverend Bush. Any other board member have any questions or comments at this time?
I have a question. Just want to make sure for clarity.
Go ahead, Reverend Mr. Youngblood.
Dr. Fennesley.
Go ahead.
Okay. We are voting on, and I've been looking at the maps. Are we looking at the proposed draft that's on the website, number 1?
Yes.
Okay. And I want to make sure I'm looking at the right one. Meadowlark seems to be the dividing line. Or I'm just trying to make sure the two maps are accurate, because I've looked at maybe a little different. If you can just give me a moment. For some reason, I thought we were going to be voting more on the proposal 2, but it's the first proposal. Is that correct?
They chose number 1. The committee recommends that you adopt number 1, and that's the map also that the county commission adopted yesterday. Of course, the goal of having the joint committee is to try to reach a consensus so the districts for elections for school board and county are the same, so that would reduce confusion among the voters, that they would have 2 different districts to vote for.
And Did you all understand what Mr. Coleman was saying? Okay, so there any questions? Yes?
And I move that the Dougherty County School Board accept draft 1 to send to the reapportionment committee for redistricting.
Second.
All right, motion second that we accept map 1 to send to the General Assembly. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Same sign?
Unanimous, it seems, Mr.
All
Chairman.
right, so it's unanimous.
If I could prevail upon those that are here, Mr. Chairman, if you go forward and sign that resolution, I'm going to fill in the first page with District 1. It says A and B there, and pass it around, and I'll ask staff to sign for Mr. Youngblood, Ms. Strother, and Reverend Bush.
Okay. All right, Deb, you finished, Mr. Coleman?
I can come by if you need me to sign.
As you know, we're pretty, you could do that if you like, but I think it'll be fine. The law says you can do this, and I can have that signed by the staff here, and then put a note out there that you attended by phone, by teleconference. It'll be all right. I promise you, if it isn't all right, either Freddie or Gerald will let me know.
So I motion for adjournment of I move for a joint redistricting committee meeting to be adjourned.
Got a second?
Second the motion.
Second motion, all in favor, join me, say aye.
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 All opposed? Our meeting is adjourned.